I thought I'd give you guys a picture of what they call the San Jose Valley. It's about halfway from the little farm to the big farm, and give you a little sightseeing tour. How pretty. And this valley kind of starts just about at 141 mile range. Let's see if I can give you the 360 tour here. Look at that, colors. It's a stormy day over there. It was raining at the farm when I left. I guess they call this semi-arid here. Oh, 360. You're welcome. This is all ranch land around here in the San Jose Valley. This highway is Highway 97 North. That way to Vancouver, and the other way goes to Prince George and Alaska, basically. They use mile markers on this highway, and this section of the valley is called that 141 mile, and those mile markers are established from the gold rush days when the miners and settlers and whatnot that were rushing up to Markerville Gold Rush, the people would arrive on boats and whatnot to Vancouver, and then they took a paddle wheeler up the Fraser River. Those paddle wheelers could only go up the Frasers so far, and where the paddle wheelers stopped was a place called Hell's Gate, where basically the Fraser River was some rapids there and the paddle wheeler couldn't go, and so you were on foot from there, and that was mile marker number 1 at Hell's Gate, which comes just after a town called Hope. And people often have this funny little joke: you're just before Hell's Gate and beyond Hope. Anyway, there you go. Thought it was pretty, so I took a picture for you. Anyway, just for reference, that's where we walked down the train tracks the other day looking for the freeloader cow, and it's too bad we didn't have, well, we went for that walk and got a good video, but isn't that stunning scenery? But there's the freeloader cow. Too bad she wasn't there when we came the last time. I wouldn't have had to go 4-mile walk down the train tracks, but there she is, her and her big calf. And they're a little bit shaky. I'm quite a ways away from her and she's already nervous. That's a little bit Black Angusy, that behavior. They're not the most calm breed that there is. He's not, I get about, depending on the year, 40-50 bales of hay. It's a lot more effort than it's worth, but it keeps it nice. And that's what she's about here, is because now she basically gets to spend her fall in her very own private little piece of hayfield. And isn't that nice if you're a cow? Sure as hell is. Anyway, there she is. And what I'm about today is we're going way up the top of the hill to our water reservoir, which is 2 miles further up the hill, to put the irrigation reservoir to bed for the winter. Once you start making YouTube videos, you start to see picture opportunities, and it looks pretty nice. But anyway, okay, here we go. But we have time to check out the cows. There's the 2 musketeers. They're not very tame. Pokemon and Daniel. Daniel's navel is all better now. Look at him. Looks just like a normal cow. Who's over here? This is Bunny. This is Bunny. She's got a little bit of red in her. See that? Red color. Hey, cow. There you go. Yeah. And some of your cows? Yeah. And Spikeler. Like, get your feet down. He's the haywire when he first gets let out. And go say hello to Jack. Look at that, hey? Photographer's wet dream. Are you allowed to say that on YouTube? I don't know. But just look at that. Woohoo! And then there's Jack. Apparently they just ventured over here. They've been living over in the far pasture on the other side, but apparently they just came over to this side just now, just before we got here. Hey Jack, you're all wet. Hey? It's muddy on this side. What do we got here? Maggie. You can tell Maggie because she gets a little bit of the hair. Whoa, this is deep mud. The hair right here kind of fluffs up and she looks like she's got a broken nose. But she doesn't, it's just fluffy hair. Hey, Meg. Yeah. And this one, I think, is Beatrice. She's a little bit thicker as far as cows go. There we go. Hey, Collie. Yeah, this is nasty muddy here. This one over here. Who are you? Let's see. This is Belle. There she is. And this is Bliss, Belle's mom. She's a sweet thing. She's old. In her two back quarters, when we were checking udders, remember? Her two back quarters were a little bit firm. So I mean double. Oh no, she got over it. She's good. We could maybe let these cows out onto the hayfield. Now, once they get over that risk of getting mastitis, when you first take their calves off of them, if you give them a bunch of lush grass, then their milk production soars and then they haven't got any calves to drink. Here's Tina. Ms. Tina. Hey? What, Kelly? She's a sweetie. This is the apple eater. But she's a little demanding. I spoiled her a lot when she was living at the little farm. And so now when she wants to be petted, she doesn't take no for an answer. It can be a bit of a problem if you're not really familiar with cows and don't know how to smack her on the nose or whatever needs to happen to get her to cool off a bit. Bunny, Candy Cow, she's here like, I want my pets. There you go. You guys are all ready to go out in the hayfield, aren't you? I can tell. Maybe tomorrow. Let me see you. You were having troubles too. Still a little bit. Don't smack me with that thing. Fortunately, Casey here, she is just super tame. Super tame. You squish right there and you can feel there's like that big thing I told you was kind of like a lima bean. And that's the mammary gland actually. And if it softens up, then you know the system is turned around and has stopped producing. And this is Sarah with the eyeliner, see? Dahlia doesn't have that. She's got pink skin. There's Dahlia right there. I will show you. See that? She doesn't have the dark skin around her eyes. She's very sweet, though. Yeah, they look like we could let him in the hayfield. Tinkerbell. This is an interesting thing, why she's so wide as a house like that. I'm not sure, and she always had a very loose stool. Do you see how she's kind of messy on the back a little bit? And cows are always messy on the back, but she was a little more so than usual. Sophie is the last girl calf that a cow named Sue had, and I bought Curly and Sue from the movie Curly Sue. I bought those two, Curly and her sister Sue. They were pretty much lookalikes a long time ago, 10 years ago at least. Just because I had such a nice bull at the time. His name was Norman, and he had kind of, in order to not, once you have all his daughters are the breeding stock, then you can't keep any of them as replacements, so you need some more breeding stock or another bull. Take your choice. And I bought 2 new cows in instead, and I don't think I'll do that again, because I've never been able to, they never did, but either one of them tamed down nice like the rest of my cows. They were both mustn't touch it's. Fine cows, and but you have to, about as close as I am right now, that's as far as I can get to her. Or she gets nervous. She's not mean or anything, she just gets nervous. And I like my tame cows. They come to visit. Yeah. All right. So, should we go up the hill, Finn? Are you ready? Ready to go? Yeah? Okay, let's go. Where's that quad? Daisy. Be nice. No. Ah. Here. That's a girl. Okay, we're on this quad and up the hill we go. And I'll open up the video camera again when we get up there. Here we are, partway up the hill. Hey, Sadie. You know it's fall when the shaggy mane mushrooms come out. There you call it. That is called a shaggy mane. And we used to eat them a lot. If you pick them, and well, see that on the right on the very skirt of the thing, it's starting to go kind of pink looking. It's past, but if you get a really good one that's not pink on the edge, like this young one here, if you open it, it's pink too. No, I wouldn't eat those. But I don't know what makes them go pink so fast. Usually, if they're still closed on the bottom, tight around the stem, then they're good to eat. But they're an awful squishy thing. They're not. They don't have much bite to them. Squashy thing, like what would I compare it to? I don't know. They feel like porridge in your mouth or something. There are other mushrooms that grow this time of year. Like there's a wild button that has a bit of an almond smell to it when you pick it, and it's kind of yellow on the top. My goodness, those are delicious. What's that right there? Wouldn't that be cool? If I was just bragging about buttons and there were some buttons. No. No, I think we could safely say that's a toadstool. It doesn't have, the almond smell that you get from them is very distinct. Like it's like, someone put some almond extract on that or something. And they're very tasty fried up, and they keep a little bit of a bite to them. They're delicious. And there's another one that grows, like regular buttons grow around here. And then there's another one called a Royal Prince, which is very rare to find, but they do grow around here. And that thing is like eating a piece of steak, quite literally. Okay, now, driving a quad with one hand, that's a good thing. Come on, let's go. I guess it's probably a couple miles up the mountain. Someone's been up here with a pickup truck. Looks like hunting season around here, and everyone's looking for some poor unsuspecting buck. Yeah, this open space right here, slow down a bit, that's when they logged it. That's what they call a log landing, where the machine cuts the trees down and they drag them all to this one point, and that's where they load them onto the log trucks to take them to the sawmill, haul them down the highway, right? Okay. Lots of time where that green grass is right up there. And when I was a little kid, I'd walk up here with a .22 rifle, and that's where, at the right time of the moon, that's where the grouse would be out right here picking clover off this green patch, and pop, get yourself some dinner. Old Finn, he's starting to feel his age. He's getting fairly gray in the whiskers. I can't go very fast, otherwise he feels it for about 3 days if I make him stretch out too much. But he gets plenty of exercise, so I'm hoping he'll live longer than most Great Danes, which is not that long. They have a 10-year-old Great Dane is an ancient Great Dane. They usually only last somewhere 6 to 8 years old. Okay, we're almost there. I'm trying to keep this this bit of film going so that I can show you guys the full deal here. Hey, and we parked the little contraption right here. Did you make it, Daisy? Good girl. Yeah, she's a good girl, aren't you? Where did the Spike go? Spike, Spike. He always ventures off by himself somewhere. He's quite the loner. He's a good perimeter guard dog. There he is. Hey, Spiker. What are you doing, Spike, Spike? Come on, say hello to our friends on the internet. That's all you get from him. He's busy doing what Spike does. So this is the reservoir, and it's just a little small creek, this little pond. This will just be a mud flat by spring. But when you plug it off, it fills pretty much right up to, I don't know if you can't really see that there's a berm here, but it'll fill all the way up and over to the other side and right up over to those trees. I don't know, 3 or 4 feet deep. Quite a bit of water. But we're just going to shut this down for the winter. And then early spring, as soon as the ice starts to melt, can fill it back up again, ready for the end of June sometimes when things start to dry out. And then you have to put some irrigation back on things. What is it, Daisy? Something? What do you see? You watch them? Yeah, that's a girl. Good girl. Oops. All right, I got to do what I got to do, and then we're... Oh, that's what that pickup truck was up here for, looking for a duck. Very likely, because look at what I found. Some shotgun shells, some empty ones. You see, and that's why ranchers... Like, how much does that take for you to pick up your own trash? Right? That's why ranchers get frustrated, because now... And look a little further, you might find some chocolate bar wrappers and who knows what else. And they get cranky. They say, can I come on your property and do what I want to do? But and the ranchers are like, no, because I'm not interested in picking up your trash. So, and, you know, my father was a very avid hunter. And not so much anymore, but as a youth, I did a lot of that. And it's like, come on, you guys. Like, you can do better than this. I don't need any empty shotgun shells. I don't have a use for them. Okay, that's my rant. Sorry. Fall, it's a nice time of year. A little brisk, but there's no bugs. That's the nice part. A lot of rose hips. The bears, they like to eat these things. You open them up and there's seeds like that. And you find some bear scat in the middle of the road and it's just solid rose hip seeds. And so they really quite like it. There's a lot of vitamin C in them apparently. You ready to go, Daisy? Are you ready? Okay, let's get out of here. Much nicer going down the hill. You don't have to use much throttle. You put it in a higher gear and just putt down the hill gently. What, you might ask, happened to the little dog? Well, let me show you. I'll get this thing wound up a little bit. There we go. He lives right there. He just sits on the back. He knows that's his spot. Okay, here we go. Before he jumps off, as soon as I stop, he leaps off and does what he does, but his legs aren't quite long enough to deal with the quad trip. He tried at the beginning of the trip, he makes a valiant attempt, but he ends up quite a ways behind, and then I stop and he's quite happy to be loaded aboard, and he knows that's where he's supposed to sit. ride through the bush is what sells YouTube videos or not. That's what we're doing. Here's that log landing I showed you on the way up. And they put them, when they're logging, they put them, you know, just far enough apart so that the guy that's dragging the logs out of the bush with the skidder, he doesn't have to go too far. Right? And they bunch them all up on that landing, and then you go a half a mile further and there'll be another landing where they bunch them up some more. And he drags them to the landing, limbs and everything right on them. And then the machine, they have a thing called a processor that grabs the trees, measures them for length, and removes the branches, and then it'll stockpile them into what they call a deck. And then the log truck driver comes to the bush, and then they load them onto the back of the trucks and haul them to whichever mill. There are several kind of ranching, logging, and mining. Those are the main interests. Here's another landing. Woo, look at that. Yep. I haven't seen any deer or anything, but with all these dogs, it's highly unlikely. There are enough trails around here that you could ride every day for a week and not ride on the same one twice. There's a lot of them. From years of logging, I think this is the third time that this area has been logged, and they're select logged, like, if you can believe it, that was logged only about 4 years ago where we just came through, and so there's quite a lot of trees left. They're quite careful to leave enough so there's trees to drop seeds and create more forest. But you can go all day that way, or you can go all day that way. Take your choice, and there are little roads that go off of that, about every little skidder trails they call them. We're almost back to the farm now. Originally, the farm was originally surveyed out and purchased by what they called tie hackers when the railway was going in. That's back when men were men, because they cut railroad ties, the wooden things under the tracks. They cut them by hand with broad axes and a crosscut saw. And then after, because the railway went through here from, like I said on that last video, 1912 to 1921 through the Caribou region, but then after the Caribou region just goes not very far north of here is the boundary of the Caribou region, and then took until 1950 until it got to the city of Prince George. And oh, here's a good lesson. We'll come back to the railway. This is called a slipwire gate. And listen up, city folks, because for some reason this seems to be just beyond most people to get it done back up. It's a long lever, and the lever goes behind this stick, and it's tied on there. You can see how it hooks on there, like that. And so you hang on to the long end with your right hand, and then with your left hand you hold this piece up and you poke that end behind there, and then you pry it around and shut the gate. You would not believe my father used to say, and you'd see there was added sticks somebody got because they couldn't figure out how to do this fulcrum lever thing, and there would be some added sticks on there, and somebody desperately trying to get the gate shut, but they couldn't remember how. They just took it down, and my father had saying, no, too much university on that one. So here's a slipwire gate. You grab the long handle and you take it off like that, and then you hang on to this end, and down comes the gate. And you do the reverse to get it back up. And they're not supposed to have a broken stick, but that's because one of them wild cows off the range got in, and she dove right through the fence and busted this stick, and I haven't got a new stick on there yet, but I will eventually. Okay, let's get this quad through here. You bring the gate back, and you put there's usually a loop or something on the bottom, and you put the bottom stick into there, like that. Ready to go. Here we go. Whoops, we need some gears. Dark under the trees. My camera is put on its automatic light thing to get out from under the trees, and it'll go away. There we go. The cows started to follow me when we started to come up here. They thought when I go on the quad, I'm usually opening the gate to another pasture for them, and when they hear the quad, they're quite happy, because that means more groceries. Oh, and I started about the railroad thing. So the tie hackers, after the railroad was done in the 50s, then they were pretty sure that was the end of because it was a pretty good bonanza for them, because they would cut all the ties here and then load them onto the train and take them to the end of the train construction, and then they'd use more railroad ties to make more train tracks. But then once the train got finished to wherever the train went to, they're like, well, that's the end of this. And so my grandfather, just after the end of World War II, he and his older brother bought this place. Sure, but what's our hay shed now, originally my grandfather built that when him and his brother bought the place, and that was the sawmill where they used to cut lumber. Mid-October somewhere, and there we have it. I think they call that the Hunter's Moon. This is one of the cabins. Years ago, there was about 6 of them, bunkhouses here. When the sawmill was doing the heyday, that's another one back there, a family lived in. There was about 6 of them, and those were the bunkhouses where the crew lived. And when the mill was going full tilt, I think there was about 13 people that lived here. There you can see, that's a full moon. Ooh, Halloween's coming. All right, there you have it, folks. Nice pictures, though. Huh? You ready to go? Should we go? Yeah? Okay. Ooh. Just wait. Okay. Coming, Tim? Ready to go? Well, hold still. Ooh. Here you go. Should we go home now? Okay.